I have some tips for you for Bannerlord. I've been playing a lot recently, and I've discovered some things that I haven't seen a lot of other videos cover that I think would help most people in their playthrough. So to start off in some of the general tips, I would start with horse skills. I would make sure you choose a backstory that has horse skills, because in my experience, and I don't know if this is subject to change or whatnot where it's in early access, but horse skills from what I have seen have been very difficult to raise in rank. Considering I fight almost entirely mounted, I have not leveled my skill up maybe more than once or twice in the entire time I've played. In addition, when you first start out, your number one goal, in my opinion, should be to get to clan rank 2 and immediately join as a vassal. Because if you are not clan rank 2, you can only join as a mercenary. And if you join as a mercenary, you are unable to receive land from your contributions in war for the various factions you join. So I would definitely get to rank 2 as soon as possible. When you do join a faction, after getting to clan rank 2, I would fill up as much soldiers as you can. You should be able to field at least 50 to 60. When you get that many, start hunting around. Whatever faction you're in will most likely declare war on another. Find the faction you're at war with, find their weaker lords. They're just going to have lords around that are just raiding villages with like 40-50 men. If you attack them, you can, of course, you'll take them as prisoner. I always focus immediately on taking the lord out on my own. I like ride up with my horse and stuff like that. But you don't have to do that. Just if you manage to take the lord, you can take him to a tavern and you can ransom him for like 2,000 gold, or I forget exactly what they call them. But it can be very helpful if you don't want to do trading and things like that, to ransom the lord. And then you also, of course, want to take the gear that you get from these armies and equip yourself, equip your companions, and then sell it all. In addition, you want to try to take some strong prisoners, and you might want to hold on to them. Not too strong because they take a very long time, but like mid-range troops like veterans or just infantry that's already been trained, because then you can, when you take casualties, you'll slowly be able to recruit those prisoners to replenish your ranks without having to always go and get levies. Now, this also brings me to another tip, and that has to do with companions. You want to get a companion as soon as you can. Companions on average seem to be about 1,000 to 1,500 gold, and you want to get one as soon as possible. And when you get these companions and you get to clan rank 2, you're actually able to make a party with them. Now, it is very important that you do that and you allow them to go and recruit their own soldiers, because then you can, there's a mechanic called assembling an army, and if you do that, if you have them, they're part of your clan, so when you go to assemble an army with them, it costs 0 influence. It's just free help. And as soon as your army disbands because you have a lack of cohesion or whatever, you can immediately recruit them again for 0 cost. So it's always important. I take as many companions as I can make in parties, which I believe at clan rank 2, that is 1, and then at clan rank 3, you can have 2 companions out with parties. Now, this actually brings us into the next section of the tips, which are kingdom tips. Now, my advice, if you want to start your own kingdom, of course, you have to finish the main quest, Noretzi's Folly. You have to go through that, talk to the lords, and then it's going to bring you to another quest about assembling a banner. Go through that, finish that. I'm not going to really cover that because a ton of people have already done it already, but you definitely need to do that. And then join a weaker faction which is collapsing. By this point in the game, most likely there's a faction or 2 that are down to 1 or 2 settlements. If not, you can always join just whatever the weaker one is, or you can wait until a faction is weakened. But I would join a weaker faction which is collapsing, and then when your faction is close to being destroyed, let's say you're on your last 2 settlements, you want to try to find a castle that has been recently taken by you or by the enemy. In this case, you want to take ones that have been taken by the enemy so you can take them right back. Now that'll build up your influence. And when you save up all your influence, you should be able to get up to like 300. And then you can take like a city or a castle that you absolutely want. Like you very much so want this. You can spend all 300 influence to hopefully get your chances of getting that to be much higher. So I would advise, don't even try to use, your 50 influence or whatever. I would just save it up, continually taking weakened castles. Now, weakened castles typically have 20 to 50 units. And if you're already in the 60, 70 range, you should be able to easily take them. Not to mention if you have your army and your companions out making parties. Now, when you do have that last settlement in your faction, pieces out of the war, and you're down to 1 or 2 settlements, that is when you want to either keep your settlement, or now this is when you're declaring independence and you want to form your own faction. You can either keep this city or castle that they gave you, or you can give it back to them and then immediately declare war on them and take the castle. And if they're down to only 1 or 2 cities, they will most likely have fewer troops, and you can definitely check that out in the diplomacy menu and check out exactly how much your strength compares to them. But then you can declare war, take that settlement. Now, and then you immediately, and I don't know if this is a bug, but if you immediately go and you form your own faction, the war ends. The war is ended because technically you're changing factions. So if you take and you form your own faction with a very valuable city, now suddenly you just took that faction, or you took that city, you formed your own faction, and you're no longer at war, which is a perfect situation to start your own kingdom. Now with Bannerlord being in early access, this is not exactly super useful because you cannot declare your own war as your own faction and things. This is just tips if you do decide to do that. This is what I did, and this is how it made it much easier for me to do it than some other people have been suggesting. And I hope that hopefully within the next year or whatever, Bannerlord will get a bunch of more updates, and we'll get out of this early access, and we'll get some more. Hopefully sooner than that, of course. We'll have some more interactions with our kingdom, which is very exciting for me. It's my favorite part of the game. And if you don't plan on doing that, of course, these tips might be able to help you in various different ways. Even if they're kingdom specific, they might help you in general if you just want to build up a bunch of fiefs in your kingdom. And I hope these will make your Bannerlord experience better and a little easier. And I'll see you next time.